all for showing up for this first in our series. It's called Stairway to South Africa. This is really just more of an informal intro and info session where we'll share some information just about what's been going on with RIM, and then talk more about the upcoming Stairway to South Africa series. Talk about well, let me just go ahead and go to the next slide. I'm already getting into the agenda. So, well, yeah, I'll give a few updates on RIM, what we've been up to as of late for folks that may not be in the know. And then we'll have an overview of the RIM forum for next year that will be taking place in Cape Town. As part of that forum, we have gathered a illustrious group of local liaison folks, and so we'll have them introduce themselves. We have two of the three available today to introduce themselves. And then we'll just kind of end with a nice Q&A session if folks have questions about, just what's going on with RIM or the forum or anything else in the RIM universe. Feel free to ask those questions then. And we'll probably close out probably about 40 minutes or so from now. So, some updates on our end. We are very happy to report that we were able to successfully complete the 501c3 status. For those that may not be in the US, that is the official nonprofit status where the IRS, the tax folks in the federal level will recognize this as a nonprofit entity. And so we do not get taxed on many things. And that also gives us an opportunity to provide folks that donate to us the opportunity to write off those donations. And so a big part of this is going to allow us to kind of expand our fundraising mechanisms. We had a pretty intense strategic meeting over the summer. And so we've got quite a few plans to expand the initiatives and programming that RIM offers. And so we're definitely going to need that fundraising support to support those initiatives. And so please do look out for more around how you can give or how you can spread the word about how you can give to RIM in coming months. Along with that, we are in the process of hiring a managing director. This person, what we're looking for right now, we've got funding for at least 12 months. Hopefully we can renew after that, but right now we're looking for someone that can dedicate this to themselves for the managing director position for about 12 months. It's be up to 20 hours a week. And what we're really looking for this person to do is kind of handle the day-to-day activities of the organization, help us with the fundraising, of course, and really have someone who has some really strong project management skills so they can kind of help us balance the various projects that we're already doing, plus the initiatives that we're trying to get off the ground. So if you know of someone who might be interested, or if you yourself are interested, if you have those project management skills, if you're familiar with RIM or think that your values are aligned with our values, please do contact us at that contact@rimnetwork.net. Or if you know someone, please tell them to contact us. We'll be happy to hear from them. As far as salary goes, the salary would be up to $50,000 over that 1-year period. So as I mentioned, we are in the process of scaling up our initiatives and our offerings. One of the big things that we looked at over the summer was really focusing in on our international aspect of our values, that RIM is not just US based, but we do things from a global international basis. And so we are going to be starting up a global lecture series that looks at race and markets across the globe and bringing in experts from across the globe to talk about their research that looks at these things. So more will be coming very shortly on that. That will be starting up later in March. And we hope that will also be an ongoing program that we have. And so please do keep an eye out for more information coming on that series soon. And then lastly, there's the Stairway to South Africa series, which is really a way for us to kind of prepare ourselves leading up to this really big forum that we're having down in South Africa. And so what we thought this would be helpful for is really an online series that will really devote itself to highlighting the local context of South Africa and South Africans and how race and markets are impacting their lives, And so we can really get us kind of embedded within that context before arriving, so that we when we're there, we're not having to really get ourselves, acclimated as much. We've done that work beforehand. And so we'll have ongoing series of short reading groups, some film viewings. There'll be specific lectures that talk about South Africa and Cape Town specifically, and how race and markets are operating there. And if there's other types of resources that we're able to leverage as well, we'll certainly incorporate that. But this will more than likely be kind of a monthly series. Again, it's still very much in development, but you can best believe that we'll have stuff available that we think will be pertinent to the conference, and definitely pertinent to our ability to really enjoy ourselves and make the most of that time that we have down in Cape Town. I'm going to turn it over to, I believe,
It's
Guillaume.
me, yeah, it's me, I'm supposed.
Yeah,
Hello everyone.
to talk about the report.
So yes, so I'm just supposed to present briefly the forum. What is the goal of the forum? So I'm sure you all seen the CFP by now. So I'm just going to give like the big direction of the forum, what we want to do. And the key idea for us is, like we've done in 2017, like we've done in 2019, is just to create a physical space where people, scholars, students, activists, practitioners can come and meet to discuss, to exchange, to develop, and to produce work related to race and market. So the topic of this conference, the theme of this conference is past in present, pathways to the future. What you can see in that theme is you find this notion of past, present, and future, because the key idea is to say that it's difficult, almost impossible, to do real research without a reflection regarding the past. But we don't want it to be only like a historical conference. We want it to be about history, but also how this history is telling us about the present. And also we want to invite people who wants to come to think about what is the future. What is the future? What can be the future of race in the marketplace? How to create, how to generate more equitable marketplace. So this is the key idea, to think about past, present, and future, because there's a call for paper. There's a call for paper which is associated to the conference. There's a special issue that will be associated to the conference, and this special issue is with the Journal of Historical Research in Marketing. And this call for paper, this special issue, even though it sounds very historical, in fact, they are also interested with research that draw on historical research to tell things about the past, obviously, but also about the present and the future. So the conference itself, you see in the CFP, we have like traditional submission, traditional research paper, but also we want to invite people to submit any type of work, artistic work, or any type of work that may be related to race and market. We've done two conferences so far, two big conferences, what we call the RIM Research Forum. We organized one in Washington, D.C. in 2017 and one in Paris in 2019. And the idea was that RIM, as Kevin said, RIM is an international network. So we don't want only to stay in the global north. We also wanted to be able to engage with what's happening in the global south. But our goal is not just to get researchers and scholars and people from the global north going to the global south. We also wish to develop a stronger base for real people from the global south, from South Africa, from Cape Town, to be interested in the project and to be part of it. So if you know people in South Africa, on the African continent, that may be interested with what we're doing at RIM, I think really we need to try to get them motivated and interested in submitting and coming to the conference. I don't know, so maybe just in terms of admin things, the deadline is in April, the last day of April, April 30th. So still have 2 months, even more, to submit. And the conference will happen in Cape Town. It will probably happen in the campus of UCT, the business school of UCT, the Breakwater campus, which is on the I was gonna say Greenpoint, but it's not Greenpoint. It's on the waterfront. Yes, the waterfront. But so we're still finalizing discussion with them. So this is now, and as I said, the idea is not just to get the researcher from the global north to go to Cape Town. So what we want to is to also to engage with local scholars, local practitioners, and we have with this conference a local liaison team with three persons. We've got Kurt April, who cannot be here today, but is based at UCT. Veronica King, who is a consultant on diversity, equality, and inclusion, and Kevin Smube, who is a senior lecturer at the Cape Peninsula Institute. So I think they're going to present themselves, present their work now in the next minutes.
Thanks, Cam. I'm wondering if we can just, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Judy, but if there's anything else you wanted to add about the special issue that's tied to the conference before we move on to introducing the local liaison team. Just want to give you an opportunity to add anything that Guillaume didn't mention.
I will just say that, and there's no echo, is there? Okay, because I have a speaker attached to this device. At present, we were approached by the Journal of Historical Research and Marketing with great enthusiasm to produce a RIM theme special issue. And in fact, we have now assembled an editorial team of myself, Kwame, who's on the call, Belle, who's also on the call, and Anna Raquel Coelho Rocha. And I hope I'm pronouncing everything correctly because my Spanish was left back in junior high school. So we met last week to basically work out some timelines and what our plan would be for the special issue. Eventually, we would like to do a CFP for the special issue to shortly follow the RIM Forum in Cape Town, either late January or I think we were thinking February 1 at and I need
breaking
to
up just a little bit there, Judy.
Yeah, I need to meet with the editor of JHRM just so we can come to a consensus on what the timeline will be. And I have to submit some formal paperwork to Emerald, the publisher. But we're looking forward to encouraging submissions that have an historical aspect. And, you know, what I try to tell people is that you don't have to be necessarily an empirical person. You can do archival research, a lot of which is digitized, which is helpful given the expenses, you know, associated with travel and accessing these materials. And there's also a lot of historical artifacts from a global perspective and practices and just all kinds of things that are unexplored with respect to race in the marketplace. So I think we're going to take a pretty broad view, and we certainly want to emphasize an international perspective because, like RIM, the body that controls the journal is also international and multidisciplinary. So I don't have too much to say beyond that. But stay tuned, and as we go through these meetings, I expect to have some kind of updates with respect to maybe a more solid timeline and what to expect. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Judy. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and give our wonderful local liaison team an opportunity to introduce themselves. Like Gail mentioned, unfortunately, Kurt was not able to join us today, but we do have Veronica King and Kevin Nube. And so I will first turn it over to Veronica to introduce herself and then give Kevin an opportunity. And yeah, floor is yours, Veronica.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Lovely to be here and lovely to meet all of you that are on the call. I'm based in Johannesburg, but I'm very familiar with Cape Town. I am a consultant, as Kevin said. I'm the founder and the CEO of Mbutini Consulting. I focus a lot on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and alongside that, anti-racism as well. So my passion for working with RIM is really great, and I see myself as a friend of RIM. As I said earlier, I love hanging on the tailcoats of RIM. I spent a week with RIM last year, which was phenomenal, and I've learned a lot more about the fantastic work that RIM have been doing. So I'm looking forward to meeting you all at the conference. I'm looking forward to being a support as much as I can be. So please be my guest and lean on me from a logistics perspective, cultural activities and sensitivities, and logistics. So I'm really wanting to be here to really support. I can imagine the pressures of trying to arrange a conference about 20 hours flight away. So I'm really looking forward to being as much as a help and a support as I can. And thank you for including me and inviting me. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you on the team, Veronica. And Kevin.
What was that, Kevin?
It's an honor to have you on the team.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin, and thanks to everyone. And to me, being part of RIM really means the world to me. The alignment of the work that you do and its relevance is quite amazing. And Judy, thanks for allowing me to connect to your soul through the article Selling Whiteness. It certainly is very very relevant. Yeah, looking forward to see you in person. Happy to see you on video, but can't wait to see you in person. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think as a senior lecturer at a university, my concern really is about the relevance of education, and in particular higher education in the continent, which is actually not of the continent, but just happens to be in the continent. So we have an education that is just there to help us move us to the suburbs and to help individuals, and we leave our families actually drowning in exclusion, deliberate systemic exclusions. So my interest have become actually a lot more looking at the project of uniting the melanated, all the descendants of the continent who across the globe we are persecuted simply because we have melanin, to really think of our challenges as unified. But as I was saying to Cav before, to really also understand that we face the same problems, but they may be twisted just not slightly, such that in some cases we may actually not understand that we are suffering simply for melanin and identities. And my concerns is in the continent, and in our part in particular in the South, our exclusion from history and understanding how Black Americans, as we refer to you, and Afro-Caribbeans, as we refer to brothers and sisters who found themselves in England via the Caribbeans, got there. that for many people, that history is actually missing. And for me, I think it was in the 1970s, a conversation on, I'm not sure if anyone has seen that, but it's a black paper on white racism, where one of the speakers actually, they were looking at solutions to the black solution, and somebody was asking, what would you do in America? And somebody was saying, well, what about Africa? We could go there. And said, well, African leaders actually don't seem to have an opinion about us. And here, the lack of our history means that sometimes we don't understand that we have brothers and sisters taken away from us. And of course, sometimes our own economic exclusions mean that we have no space, no room to think about that. And I think we need to actually bring this one way or another to the forefront to actually get to understand that, we have a common cause, and the academy would actually be there'll be no better place than the academy, where we deal with knowledges to actually think about development of the continent for the collective, so that we are protected in the continent, and as we remain away from the continent, it becomes a home for all of us. And I think for me, I really look forward to this. And my current work is a bit involved in bringing in African languages into the university, and hoping actually with some statistical proof, early stages of the research, proving that if people begin to be taught in mother tongue, our access to powerful knowledge is actually increased. And for that reason, it is the part of the conference where we're looking at, while we're looking at history, but we're saying, how does that project to the future? And what do the things we do in the academy actually help us to think about development of the continent for all the melanated, to be protected, to have a home that will protect us even in our absence. This is an area of passion. I would go on for hours, but I'm certainly looking forward to having conversations with people and asking the questions really about what we need to do, and really getting us to think about developmental economies like Thandikam Kandawira, who said maybe we need to be more systematic about taking over the development of the continent and Pan-Africanisms into our own hands, and for me, RIM gives us that hope. But really, we also need to think about these different perspectives, how we sometimes see ourselves as separate, and how we need to think about uniting ourselves. And I'm looking forward to getting a few of us to get a few clicks on the way, speaking as Xhosa, and during the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much, Veronica. So yeah, we're so excited for our local liaison team, so we can actually be mindful of that we're not taking a colonial settler perspective with us to South Africa, that we are grounded in the local context, and that we're honoring that local context as best we can. And so I'm really appreciative of their efforts in that respect. So now we're just gonna open it up here for any questions the folks may have that are on the call, either regarding the call for papers, the special issue, a bit more background on RIM if you're not familiar with us, just whatever there might be out there.
Kevin, I just wanted to add too, if anyone had suggestions or things they would really want to see or learn about that we might be able to integrate somehow into the Stairway series or into something else, to just make sure that people know that we are always open to suggestions, so that we're really driven by, activities that really build on what people really want and need.
I have a question. Will there be any opportunity to do, you remember at RIM 2019 in France, we did like these, we tied it to a photo voice workshop, but we did these tours. Will there be opportunity for some kind of activity of that nature? Because I think, at least for me, it was very helpful in terms of being able to understand the culture, and the history. And in fact, myself and another co-author who attended, we ended up publishing a paper that had to do with the market for Black tourism in, an environment where the way we think about race here in the US and how things are kind of defined and categorized, in that culture was somewhat taboo. And then, to have a business model focused on that was quite interesting. And also one of the things that we discovered is that the history of the people of color and the, I'm having some personal issues, so I am not super articulate today. When you talk about what happened in the colonies and how the areas that were colonized by the French and how their education was suppressed in terms of what their contributions to the culture were, is something similar to what, quite frankly, is happening here in this regressive state and that we kind of find ourselves in the United States. I found that to be very valuable. So I was just wondering if that was going to be an opportunity to do something like that.
Great question, Julia. We have talked about having some type of pre-conference event like we had with the Photo Voice in Paris. We had mentioned something that would be centered around music potentially, because music is a fairly big industry down in South Africa.
Yeah.
So it's still in infancy, but yeah, if you have something to bring to the table, we'd certainly love to hear more. But we're definitely open to having a pre-conference, and we've been thinking about having something to do prior to the start of the conference that would
Yeah,
allow
because
us to be
I'm
more
not
engaged.
familiar with the resources at all. And and I hate to say it here, but over here in the US, our knowledge and information about Africa is very limited. It's very limited, and it's kind of shameful. So,
Great. Well, thank you. And more to come, but yes, I think we're on the same track as far as having something where we can certainly have more contact with the local community prior to the start of the
Okay.
conference. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi,
Okay.
hi
Miss Dion?
everybody. Yes, it's Dion. I'm actually at my mom's house on my way back from Winter AMA because she lives down this way. And so for some reason my name is, I can't change it, but I'm Dion Nickerson. I'm at Indiana University. I'm assistant professor and I'll be moving down to Emory this summer. I work on research related to corporate social responsibility and sustainability more generally, but I do have a couple of papers that are looking at inclusion in the marketplace. I have a conceptual paper that I'm working on, and then another paper that's more secondary data focused that looks at DEI and corporate social responsibility press announcements. In any event, I'm wondering, how far along does the work need to be, or is it really any stage, early stage or later stage? I'm saying that because both of these papers one has already been submitted and has been under review, so we're doing kind of some major revisions there. And then the other paper is getting ready for submission. So I'm just wondering, and I'd love feedback on both of them through this type of forum. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that. And I'm happy to be here. A lot of people, I've read so many of your papers. Kevin, Guillaume, Judy, Sonia, all of you all. So it's like kind of cool to see you all in real life. So with that, I'll mute myself.
Yeah, thank you. And correct me if I'm wrong, we do have like a working paper track, right? Or there's a track where if it's not completed work, but work in progress, there's a track for that. And if there's fully formed manuscript, there's a track for that as well. And so, yeah, you should be able to either, if you wanted to have the full manuscript submission, or if it's something that's more, still in progress, there should be a place for either one of those types of submissions. So yeah, whatever you feel was best linked to the specific, both the theme, does it kind of fit within that kind of history, past, present, and then does it fit within the specific kind of values that RIMS. So is it international, or can it at least have the potential to think about implications internationally? Is it intersectional? Is it critical? Right, those types of things. So I think we're more, if those elements are there, we can certainly work with what you got. Did see something in the chat. Belle had asked a
I
while
did
back.
raise my physical hand. I'm not sure you can't see my video.
I was just wondering, before you jump in, Kev, can I get to, there was a question in the chat.
Okay, great.
That's from Belle that says, will there be any capacity for hybrid sessions? And I don't think we talked, I think we were kind of concerned about, yeah, the kind of technology needed to make that work well.
I have to see. I'm the one in contact with the conference center, so I'll have to see what is the facilities there. I guess the idea for us is to get that physical space happen, so with people to exchange. If we start having hybrid, it makes it more difficult. But obviously, we understand the value of having hybrid session. So I guess this is a discussion we need to have with the program committee. See first what is the possibilities. We have to talk about load shedding. I haven't asked them about load shedding. How do they deal with load shedding at the conference center? So this would be a big thing. It's like if there's no power for many hours, I don't know how it works. So I need to talk about that and then see with the program committee what they think about hybrid session, because I guess it brings a different dynamics. But yeah, we need to discuss that.
Belle, we'll look into it, and we'll certainly get back to you. And since you're helping out so much, I'm sure you'll be part of that process as well.
No, it's cool. I was just curious. I was already envisioning it might be complicated given the location, but I was also just thinking, are there specific parts of the program that might be more suited to it than others? So, but it's cool.
Thanks for the question. And Jeff, your virtual hand or your real hand?
Okay, thank you. Might as well start with the question on load shedding. I wanted to actually engage some of the questions. If it's at the Protea Hotel at the waterfront, it would have round-the-clock backup, so it wouldn't be an issue. If it's at the Protea Hotel at the hotel at the waterfront, the one that's owned by UCT, that shouldn't be an issue. And I just wanted to engage, hi Dion, and wanted to engage your question probably together with some of the items raised by Judy, and also just looking at some of the things I was saying, that in South Africa, where we are minoritized but numerically majority Black, we really want to engage issues like inclusion, which may be relevant in America, where culturally, linguistically, inclusion may be more important. But for us here, we kind of really would use probably different terminologies to actually want to be acknowledged as who we are, other than just being allowed in, because we've been included into the universities, which are very West centered, very culturally not African, and that's really not helping us. It was just that term, but for me here, please, Dion, do you understand that we need to conscientize people that in a different context, inclusion may be important. And over here, then we kind of want to really question it, interrogate it a bit more to say who's being included in this case. Yeah. And then for Judy, would like to create lots of opportunities for for you to engage the local community. So here I'll be pushing on the word tour as in visiting, to really engaging, to being part of the family and to being with us. And there'll be quite a bit of effort to get you to meet real people whom you'll get to know for as long as your lives back in the US would allow, your busy lives, our busy academic lives would allow. But would like to really build that in. And the issue of tours is always sensitive, because to some of us, these are issues which are real. This is exclusion and suffering, which is deliberate. It continues and it is real. But for you, coming from the part of the continent, given the history, even though we may stand on different angles of understanding what's taking place, we want you there. Would like you to come, and we would like to get you to meet real people. Our environments are socially violent, and as a people, we often have to do things we don't want just to survive. So we really want that framing to be very clear. And I would really want you to understand that when I've been to the US, when I've been in the UK, when places have been called ghetto, and when these places have been a reflection of my people, the melanated, I've understood the problems. And I've always understood that it is not by running away that I'll solve them. Indeed, I do not find any of the environments we go to be dangerous, but would always encourage you to go with someone. And our environments, we certainly have a degree of acceptance, but for me, I think we just need to engage a bit more about the fact, as I did say to you, that these historical gaps, that we just don't know our problems in different continents. And I think in my case, having spoken to Kev for some time and really having followed your work, Judy, for example, and to many people's surprise that, you know, in America, because sometimes we see Black Americans, as we call you, as symbolic of what we want to achieve, our achievement, but sometimes it coexists with suffering, and all the and I think some of the work by people like Nicole Hannah Davis that I look quite closely and give me hope for starting an African school, you know, are some of the work that keeps me alive. But they are not standard. Not everybody understands them. And I think we will kind of have that challenge. I think the issues I've been raising really is to also say, we've got to think about reach outside of the academy. And so this is interesting, Judy, because I'll be asking you, and I heard you speak about the level of, when talking about publications and stuff, it is what I'd like to do. So I'm not as well published. And this in the academy means I am probably would measure a lot less. So I would like to get some insights into those publications. And yet I still want us to think about the work that we're doing, reaching out to the average person in the university, outside the university, in the communities we come from. We want these knowledges becoming mainstream, and we want to really be thinking about a future in which the university, those boundaries between the ivory towers and our communities, we actually deal with decisively. Yeah. I think that we really look forward to it, Judy, and to taking you around, and everybody, please. There'll be a lot to see, and the historical perspectives and all sorts of the nuances, really. All this, we should be able to take you around and engage these sensitivities. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it would be very instructive for us as scholars just to become familiar with the nuances. Because the experience in France was highly nuanced, and on a number of ways, not what I expected. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I had two small comments related to that. One, I would imagine that even if we can't formalize things, hopefully we can find some resources, because we also have to kind of be realistic around capacity. As Kevin had said earlier, around, being 20 hours away in the US or whatever, as we put this together and put it, I know that's going to be something that we're going to bump up against, because we've got a lot of good ideas and we want to continue to take in people's ideas and really just thinking about, the way that we can do it, because that's really necessary, what you mentioned, Judy. And then Dion's question about and comment around thinking about inclusion also made me think that what is special, I think, about RIM is that we center race. And I think it kind of relates to some of Kevin's points too, that even if we, talk about, I was listening to this, thinking, yeah, theoretical work around those types of issues are key, but we really have to center race as well. I saw a call for papers recently that was about inclusion, but I didn't really see anything specifically about race. And that, kind of stood out to me as this notion that, whatever this call for papers was going to talk about inclusion, but race, which is a big dimension on which inclusion and exclusion happens, wasn't really centered or talked about or featured at all. So I just wanted to really put that out there. That to me is one of the things that's special about RIM as an organization and for our research forums, because we get to name it. We get to name it and call it and say what it is and talk specifically around issues of race.
Can I just piggyback on what Sonia just said? I work at an institution that basically prides itself on diversity and inclusiveness. However, what I have seen occur over the years is the development of what I call diversity soup. And diversity soup is where everything is thrown into this pot with every kind of variable you can think about. And I remember that I was on a panel some years back that was prompted by a cartoon that ran in our student newspaper that kind of trivialized a lynching. And the panel came about in response to that. And, and I was going to talk about like the history of this kind of imagery and all this and that. And it turned into something else where it got, we got into gender, we got into sexuality, we got into all these different kinds of things. And I felt by the end of the panel, I felt that the race issue, which prompted the whole thing, had gotten literally lost in the sauce, or what I call, you're kind of lost in this diversity soup. It's nothing wrong with the diversity soup, but if you're coming in and you want to center race, if that's going to be the topic, fine. But I've gotten to where I will turn down opportunities if I think it's going to turn into diversity soup in such a way that no meaningful thing is going to come out of it. And so I'll leave it at that, because this might be a little controversial, but I've had a couple of bad experiences in that regard. So anyway, I'm done.
Thank you, Judy. And I'm sure you're not the only one has had those those bad issues come up with some of those talks that are offered our way around inclusion and diversity. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Any other questions? We were coming up on we wanted to keep this to about 45 minutes, so we're coming up on time. But if there are other questions or comments or suggestions, feel free to add them in now, or if they come up later, feel free to email them to us. You can find us at remnetwork.net, or you can email us at contact@remnetwork.net.
I'd like you Kevin's email. Kevin, I'm gonna have to say now Kevin T and Kevin N. So Kevin N, I'd like your email if possible. And I guess it's in the link for the Zoom.
We can get it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something I wanted to ask.
Will do. Well, I will wrap up then. Thank you so much again for coming and participating in this first Stairway to South Africa, our info session. We do hope to see you at other sessions here, and we certainly hope to see you next year in Cape Town. Thank you again, and have a great rest of the day or evening, wherever you're at.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely to see you all. Thanks, Kevin. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice to see you, Belle.
Have a good day, everyone.